And I will play these statements in their entirety because I want you to compare the contrast between your disposition initially and the statements you made the following day. The statements you made in this communication is what troubles me. Here they are.
I'm Dr. Laura Schlessinger, and I do welcome you to this hour of the program. You are here with Benjamin Pratt, engineers, orchestrates our music, Kimberly Neal screening your calls, and me. I am my kid's mom. My number here is 1-800-DR-LAURA, 1-800-DRLAURA. My commentary today has to do with doing the right thing. I talk every day about doing the right thing. And yesterday, I did the wrong thing. I didn't intend to hurt people, but I did. And that makes it the wrong thing to have done. I was attempting to make a philosophical point, and I articulated the N-word all the way out, more than one time. And that was wrong. I'll say it again. That was wrong. I ended up, I'm sure, with many of you losing the point I was trying to make because you were shocked by the fact that I said the word. I myself realized I had made a horrible mistake, and I was so upset I couldn't finish the show. I pulled myself off the air at the end of the hour. Had to finish the hour, because I think 20 minutes of dead air doesn't work. I am very sorry, and it just won't happen again. Now, I received some letters, and what touched me is that even though many of you were upset, I was really touched that you still showed friendship for all the years we've been together on the air, and for that, trust me, I am very grateful. Here's an example, and I want to thank this woman for sending me this letter. Again, I was very touched, and truthfully, it helped me make it through the night. So I'm going to read the letter. Dear Dr. Laura, I've been a listener for at least 20 years. I have bought and read several of your books. I have always held you in high regard and have encouraged others to listen to you as well. I have to say, after today's call with the African-American woman with the Caucasian husband who called seeking how to handle racist comments, I'm a bit dismayed. I believe that African-Americans using the N-word is disdainful, as well as Caucasians or any other race for that matter. I agree that the argument that some African-Americans use that it is okay for them to use it and not for others is ridiculous. I agree that the argument that since some African-Americans use the word that it's okay to use it and others can't use it is ridiculous. I'm sorry, it's just not clear. But I have to say, when I heard you saying the word repeatedly, it struck a negative chord with me. I don't believe you are a racist, and I don't believe as an African-American woman that I am hypersensitive. I have to say, after the call, I found it difficult to continue to listen to the rest of the show. I have not made the decision to stop listening to your show, but I felt compelled to respond because I found it offensive. Sincerely, and she gives her name. One last note. The caller in question, her name was Jade. She called for help from me and didn't get it because we got embroiled in the N-word. And I'm really sorry about that because I'm here for only one reason, and that's to be helpful. So I hope Jade, or somebody who knows her, is listening. I hope she will call me back. And I will try my best to be helpful, which is what she wanted from me in the first place and did not get. And that's my commentary for today. Be right back with your calls.
Now, Doctor, before I say what I believe needs to be said, I want you to be mindful of a few things. You are my elder. You are a giant on terrestrial radio. And while I do not always agree with you, you are undeniably gifted when it comes to relationships and giving advice. But when it came to dealing with your critics in this particular situation, I think you lost your way. And while I may be greatly overstepping my boundaries, I feel compelled to remind you who we are, what we do, how we do it, and why what we do must be done. You, Dr. Laura, like Howard Stern, like Rush Limbaugh, Rosie O'Donnell, and myself, are a truth teller. And even though there is often vehement disagreement among the members of our distinguished group, all truth tellers are bound together by the fact that we are not afraid to speak what is on our hearts and minds, even when our words may hurt, insult, agitate, or offend. We do not do it for attention, public appeal, or praise. We do it because, right or wrong, we are passionate about what we think and believe, and to suppress our controversial views is to fundamentally deny who we are, and more importantly, what God meant us to be. Now, Dr. Laura, the strength and courage, make no mistake, that enables you and I to voice dissenting opinions in the face of overwhelming opposition, and the alligator-like skin that enables us to endure relentless assaults on our character by those who may disagree with us, should never be taken for granted, because God has given us a precious gift. And with those gifts, my friend, come great responsibility. Let me remind you that it is our calling to speak on behalf of the millions of other dissenting voices who may share our views on whatever subject we're opining on, but who are without a platform or medium to express their views. So, with all of that being said, my question today is very simple. What were you thinking when you made that false apology? Dr. Laura, you know very well that you meant every word that you said to Jade. And instead of apologizing, you should have engaged your critics in the arena of heated intellectual debate and re-emphasized, or at the very least, clarified the points you were trying to make. And then, even though they may have disagreed with you again, you would have had the opportunity to clarify your position in front of the masses. But by apologizing, when you really did nothing wrong, you did two things. First, you avoided a conversation that Americans need to have, and one that you should have been a part of. Second, by surrendering your position, you gave up the only weapon that you had to defend yourself against their attacks, and now, with you unarmed, they are free to make you the poster girl for racism in America. Now, I'm not going to go on and on about this because I know you have taken this hard, but I do want you to rethink the way you deal with liberal media in the future, and I think that you should take a page out of the Rush Limbaugh and Howard Stern manual for dealing with media and controversy. You see, when they make a statement that pisses people off and the major media outlets come after them, they don't lay down their weapons and come out with their hands up surrendering. They come out, guns blazing, and they force their critics to either prove them wrong or shut up. But surrender for the truth teller should never be an option. We are here to tell it like it is, my friend, or die trying. But that's all I'm going to say on that, because I think you know this, and it's too late for you to change what you've done. But I want to remind you, if you're ever in that situation again. Now, there are two other things I wanted to correct you on, and then I'm going to go because I have a great many things to do on my own program. The first thing, however, is that African Americans never use the word nigger, G-I-G-G-E-R, in conversation publicly or privately. We use the word nigga, and nigga is very different than nigger, and there are some major differences between the two, which I'll explain. For example, we often say things like, nigga please, look at this nigga, when you see that nigga, tell him I want my money, man, that nigga paid, man, that nigga broke, man, that nigga crazy as hell. Or, Look at this trick-ass nigga. And then when you were talking about a term that we use of endearment, that's probably one like, man, that's my nigga, or my nigga. That's how we use the word nigga. But we never use the word nigger. That's not something that we use because of its implications. Now, with respect to who should be able to use the term, in my opinion, anyone should be able to use these words, whether it be nigger or nigga, when it's necessary to communicate a certain idea. It's language, and I think that all language is useful in the correct context. But unless the person, especially if they're white, is skilled at using and pronouncing the words correctly, I would advise against it. For example, Eminem or Fat Joe can probably get away with using the word nigga around their African-American friends because they are widely accepted in the urban African-American communities, and they have earned the right to some degree to do so. And more importantly, they know how to use those words and when to use them. But the average white person doesn't know when to say those words, how to say it, or who to say it to. And in those situations, typically when they use them, they come out poorly, or something bad happens as a result of it. So that's my opinion on those two issues. And I want you to take everything that I said today to heart. Again, you are one of my favorite broadcasters, and when I'm not listening to Rush, Howard Stern, or working on my own program, my station, my dial is always tuned into you. So I want you to keep up what you're doing, and this foolishness about you leaving terrestrial radio, that's madness, and I hope you reconsider. While I am a complete advocate for the new medium, which is the internet, which is where my domain will most likely be, I also think that there is a place for terrestrial radio giants like yourself, and I think that your voice needs to be heard. So I do hope that you reconsider your position, because you've worked far too long and too hard to give up the position that you have. And like I said before, you are a terrestrial radio giant. So Reverend Lawson loves you, and I will be listening to you. Take care.